how do brands get on your radar? Because we always see this coverage, and if it's not about our brand, we are excited for them, but also immediately jealous. How do brands typically reach out to you guys? Like, do they hit you on LinkedIn? Do they sneakily get your emails? Of course, we never share emails on the Startup CPG Slack, maybe. But also, what trade shows do you go to where you meet people? All of those kind of things. So, Elizabeth, I'll start back with you.
Well, my email is not a secret. It's elizabeth.crawford@wrbm.com. It is far and away the best way to reach me, although reaching me on LinkedIn is great as well. I mean, I think the big thing is that we don't know who you are and we don't know your story if you don't reach out to us. And we're just people. We want to hear your story. We're not scary, right? So just shoot us an email or reach out on LinkedIn. We go to all the major shows. I will say that my approach to shows, I have learned that there's no way to do them all. So I do plan it out ahead of time, and there's very little wiggle room for just wandering around. So if you're going to be at a show, let me know several weeks ahead of time and I'll get you in the calendar.
I think that's true because Elizabeth, you were kind enough to do a story on us once at a show, and you're like, "Yes, I will meet you there at between 4:12 and 4:15, and we'll do that, and then we'll be." And it was a great article. Also, just shout out to you because you've come to some of our Startup CPG local chapter events, like the DC one, and then I think a week later there were a bunch of stories about brands that had gotten up to pitch at that event. So that's what we like to see. Thank you. And
Well,
about
thank you. I mean, honestly, shout out to your events. If you guys go to them because they're amazing. And I rolled out of there, I was like there for an hour and a half, and I rolled out with like 5 video profiles, and it was so exciting. And I found speakers for an event. Crunchy Hydration, who I met at your event, just spoke at a webinar for me. So thank you for hosting this and bringing this community together.
Well, thank you. You going is why they are awesome. It's all fun and games if we're all there networking, but when we get real deal media and buyers there, whoa, now we're cooking. That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, Brooke, same question to you. How are people getting on your radar?
Yeah, so how my editor explained it when I first started because I was totally new to this industry and still am. I've only been here for about a year and a half, so I unfortunately don't have quite the coverage that Elizabeth and Adrian do right now, but hopefully I'll get there someday. I'm still learning myself, but um they have about a minute to catch our eyes. And because we see dozens of emails, dozens of pitches a day and on social media. And my editor has also explained it in a great way. Get to the point of your company and your product. What's your why? Not that you ran a marathon, not that um, you know, I went out for this competition or whatever, and explain how you're differentiating in the category and how you're being innovative and helping those consumers to with your product and how they can use it.
I love it. All right. Those are some really great tips. And yes, I am also somebody who gets a lot of emails and applications on the stuff. So like, yeah, I would really think about how to capture somebody's very quick attention and just highlight the thing that they're gonna latch onto, like, oh yeah, that's gonna be of interest. I should read the rest of this email. And Brooke, just let me ask you a kind of tactical question on use of photos in emails. I always try to like if I'm reaching out to a reporter, I'm gonna put some cool photo in there and it's gonna be in line and it's gonna be pretty close to the top of it that it looks great, it puts my brand in a good light, or just shows something about the vibe of the brand. Do you see people do that pretty well? I just would usually tell people try not to attach the image, like try to put it in line in the email and have it, kind of close to the top. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that because if I'm having to click around on 10 different things, I'm like, okay, I know this kind of sounds like my brain just goes whack when I have to do that. So many different emails, so many different attachments. I'm like, if it's all streamlined in one little area that I can just see it, see what the product is, it's right there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's really cool. I've never seen that before. And I want to keep reading it.
All right. And Brooke, so if people are trying to submit for you guys or like follow up with you guys, what's the best way? Is it following you on LinkedIn or what's the best way for people to try to reach out?
Yeah, so same as Elizabeth, my email is not unknown. It's also on Saucelin. It's b just at saucelin.com. And you can also follow me on my LinkedIn page and message me there.
All right, thank you. Okay. Adrian, same question over to you. How are people lucky enough to get on your radar, get articles, get in the newsletter? What's going on?
Definitely, emphasizing what Brooke and Elizabeth just said, email is definitely the easiest way to get a hold of me. Also not a secret, it's just deluca@bevnet.com. So feel free to reach out anytime. I will say, as someone who's just a chronically online person, LinkedIn's also a great place to find me. You know, I would say we source a lot of stories and especially newsletter items from LinkedIn, whether you're reaching out or it's just something I see on my feed. So I wouldn't, encourage everyone to go out and become a LinkedIn influencer, but, posting about what you're dealing with, what small wins, big wins, anything, and connecting with us is a great way to stay on our radar and keep those stories flowing, because that is part of my morning roundup, is just scrolling through LinkedIn and filling out that newsletter sometimes. So another great way. And also trade shows are another one, because we are at all the major events. Unlike Elizabeth, I take a very different approach where I try not to schedule anything and I wander. So if you see me, feel free to always pull me over. I'm normally sporting some sort of BevNet or Nosh gear, so hopefully easy to find.
And what are the shows that you're going to outside of the BevNet and Nosh live shows?
So we're always at Expo West for sure. The whole team will be out there. And it typically rotates with fancy food shows, who gets to go when. Typically, I go to one or the other, winter or summer. We also have reporters going to NACS coming up, as well as Grocery Shop. Let's see, I think those are the big ones we go to, but we're trying, I'm also based in Washington, D.C., so there's been a few great ones around here that are just, more regional. So always popping into those. Less of a trade show, but I know Union Kitchen's hosting something coming up in November, a little expedition. So I'll be there as well if anyone else will. And yeah, it tends to rotate year to year, but those are the big ones.